Darn it. Thank you all. No, it's not just you. It's me. I just was giving you all the introduction. So we will start that over again. If you didn't know, I have some difficulty with technology, and one of the things that you saw me doing there at the beginning was I thought I'd solve the problem by plugging the speaker in, but I think when you unplug the speaker accidentally and plug it back in again, it automatically turns it off. So that's what happened. Anyway, what I was saying was welcome. Welcome to the Ramblestream. If this is your 58th time, this is the 58th episode. If this is your 58th time here, you know exactly what's going on, and I don't have to tell you anything. If on the other hand, this is your first time here, I would encourage you to, I'm looking at the comments. I would encourage you to participate. And the way that this works is that I'm the only one that gets to talk. Although I'm working on that. We're getting more guests on, and more people have a chance to actually be on the screen. But that doesn't mean that it's a one-way street. We have the ability here with the beauty of modern technology, not only to draw ourselves out of our community, which oftentimes I think these things, I don't know, many of you may be watching this on a phone or a computer where oftentimes I find myself removing myself from community on the phone. It separates us, it pulls everybody apart, and the beauty, I think, of this live format is that it allows us to actually do the opposite in some ways, to use the benefits of technology to actually build a community, which is what we're doing here. We are enjoying and every week building a community. We have 47 people. That's 47 people live watching this. That's almost as many people as we have had at some of our rallies, to put that in perspective for y'all. So that's a lot of people, and we're all on here telling me that you can't hear me. I'm glad they didn't go on for any longer, right? Yes, Dan, you did not miss anything. Anyway, where I'm going with this is that if you haven't commented, I would highly encourage you to get on and make a comment. And you don't have to say anything brilliant or deep. We have a formula for this, and I will lead the way. So my name is Richard. My online handle, I don't have an online handle that I use here. I just go by Richard, but if you have a handle, you're free to use that. I believe in online anonymity if you want to pursue that. I am broadcasting here from Goshen, Indiana, in our fabrication shop, which is about 5 minutes south of our headquarters, which is where we build most of the motorcycles. Down here, we make the chassis for the 450, and Brent makes all the fenders for all the bikes. Let's see, what else? I ride? I ride a 2009 Kawasaki KLR 650, a great rambling machine, and a Halcyon 250, number 68. And let's see, what else? And I am sipping on a handsome enamel tin cup of a friend of the stream, Evan Williams, a lovely old-fashioned bourbon. And so a toast to all of you. And this, so that's the format. So sign in, say who you are, where you're viewing from, what you ride. It doesn't have to be a motorcycle. It doesn't have to be a Janus. If it is a Janus, tell us the serial number and tell us what you are sipping on this evening. And this is a good opportunity to a toast to, and we'll get into this a little more, but all of our members of the armed forces today on Memorial Day, Remembrance Day, as well as to all those who have fallen in the defense of our liberty here in the United States and around the world. So important day that I don't know if, was it a Monday last time too? I don't know if it always falls on a Monday, but the 11th of November. So we'll dig into that in a minute a little more, but just wanted to give a big thanks to all of our owners who have served or who currently serve in the armed forces, and we're very grateful for that here at Janus Motorcycles. Let's take a quick look at some comments here. We've got a lot of people very helpfully telling me that they can't hear what I'm saying. But Kelly, a fellow Commonwealth of Virginia resident, or not resident, native. I don't actually, Kelly, are you from Virginia originally? I'm from Virginia. The Old Dominion, as we say. Kelly says, horse hockey. I'm first. Halcyon 450 number 236, Coyote. And 2013 Harley-Davidson Ultra Black Pearl. 2006 Harley-Davidson Heritage Elvira. I don't think I've heard your name for that one, Elvira. Out of Winchester, Virginia, sipping on the notorious Orange Crush. Kelly says, plus a big shout out to all the vets for your service. Thank you. Yes, indeed. Eric Green, viewing from Vancouver, Washington. He has a Halcyon 250, a very special Halcyon 250, y'all, named Outlaw. Snapple Peach Tea. Multifarious from home from work a little early tonight and ready for a Ramblestream. Halcyon 250 number 1067. Kingfisher. I love that name. Nebraska. He's drinking a Coke Zero. Ed Mirror is on for another week. Good to see you, Ed. That's me. Bob Benstead's on. Sturgis, South Dakota. Interested in eating rather than drinking right now. Good. Me too. I haven't had anything to eat since lunch. Wow. He says, by the way, no sign of your ink pen. Not saying that it isn't hidden in some crack somewhere. If I see it, I'll let you know. Well, Bob, I went ahead and I had a temporary one, which is this one. It's a preppy. It's like $7 Japanese fountain pen, but I was not very happy with it. It's a decent pen, but the cap is already showing it doesn't stay on. So, but I went ahead and bought a replacement for my Safari, which is also not an expensive one. This is made by Lamy. It's a German fountain pen. But I got another one. But if you do find it, let me know, because I'd love to have that one back. Lo-fi by... Thank you for looking, Bob. The last time I had it was out at Sturgis. Lo-fi by Nature, Southwest Michigan. Halcyon 250 number 1131, drinking chocolate milk. Nice. Scott Spence, good to see you, Scott. Halcyon 250 number 212 and Halcyon 450 number 178 here from Elkhart, Indiana, sipping on rum and Coke. Good to see you, my friend. Confed Yank, howdy from Central North Carolina. He says he's sipping on some sort of brand root beer. I got my 100th anniversary RK, which work has gotten used to me commuting on. Hoping to get a Halcyon for the coming year. Well, me too. I'm really looking forward to you getting your hands on a Halcyon. Fernando Urrutia is, forgive my pronunciation, Panama City, Florida, waiting for delivery of Halcyon 250 Origin number 1155. Fantastic. Semtech 57, John here from Rancho Cucamonga, California. Halcyon 250 number 1148 on the stand today. Fantastic. 7-Up and maybe some extra to celebrate. Jameson, anyone? Racing the Sun, Felix Brothers. 450 number 120 and 121, sipping on Guinness. Cheers. Old School. Hey, it's another Richard on. I see nothing. Old School Pots. Well, if you don't see anything, that is not my fault. I think I can actually confidently say that. I'll look at my other screen here and make sure that I'm actually broadcasting. Yes, I am broadcasting a video feed. So, Old School. If you can hear me, there's something wrong with your the way you're viewing it. Good to see you. Halcyon, John Hiss is on. Halcyon 1019, Lake Havasu, Arizona. Ice water, 79 degrees, loving life. 79 degrees, man. It's not actually, I shouldn't complain. It's been balmy here in northern Indiana. Today it was in the 50s. It's still warm. We have had an unusually warm autumn. No snow yet, which is rare. Usually we have snow by Halloween. David Hyde on Facebook. David Hyde in Patterson, New York, sipping a Sam Adams Oktoberfest, pondering whether or not to name my Halcyon 257, or 250 probably you mean, 387 Anel. Would you say Anel or Anele? Tell us the story on that, David. Oh, Endel. Tell us the story. Old School says, I see nada. Well, not my problem. It's my problem, but it's not my fault. How about that? Jim Bledsoe, happy Veterans Day all. U.S. Army 1972 through 75. Well, thank you for your service, Jim. 261st Signal Company, Hanau, Germany. 102nd Signal Battalion, Frankfurt, Germany. 5th Signal Command, Fort Huachuca, Arizona. Lonely with Honda Bobber, Victory Vegas, and Water. Thank you, and thank you for your service. Old School says, cold, rainy, and very windy here off the Great Lakes. Well, we have a little bit better weather here, even though we do suffer from the lake effect most of the winter. David Dixon says, Halcyon 450 number 266, Cato, Wisconsin, drinking a glass of wine and contemplating the need for a couple of logs in the fireplace. That is a good thing to contemplate. Wonderful. Old School says, right, salute to all the heroes. Indeed. Steve Q, hello from Hurst, Texas, riding Halcyon 250 number 988, Halcyon 450 number 304, and 16 Smart Cat, drinking a glass of Cabernet Sauvignon. Good to see you, Steve. Grant Longenbaugh is on. And he, of course, has Griffin 250 number 1 and Phoenix 250 number 1. Nope, Kelly, we're on now. Charles McGagan, Olaf, everyone from the Maryland Eastern Shore. 250, number 454, Phoenix, number 30, Griffin 450, number 4, he question mark, yep, you got it. Drinking Earl Grey today. Wonderful. Mick Langford, Halcyon 250, number 1093, Hank, Winchester, Virginia, sipping Yorkshire tea, another Winchesterian. Danny Rodriguez, that says he doesn't hear sound. Okay, we got lots of people. Okay, this is the part where I was not broadcasting. We're going to skip the, thank you all very much for your comments. Confetti X says, who's going to call Richard? Timothy says, Richard and no sound starting his streams is as classic as his designs. Yep, that's right. Kyle laughs. There we go. Kelly, I wonder how long he goes until he figures it out. Finally, there we go. All right. Okay. Let's see. Dan says he missed nothing. Hashtag classic Ramblestream. Okay. All right. Jeff Massey, Halcyon 250 number 850, 2 fingers of buffalo. Ooh, very nice. Buffalo Trace is good stuff. Very good stuff. I've been to that distillery. He's in Central Florida. Rowan's on. Hey, Richard, been away. NorCal Origin 1. Now, am I not pronouncing? No, yeah, that's NorCal, Northern California. Origin 1, sipping on cold coffee. Roger Junt, Sturgis Road, South Dakota. Good to see you, Roger. Halcyon 250. Lawrence Ray is on 450 number 242 at work in Louisville. Keith Haywood, Halcyon 250 number 706 in New York, sipping Irish cream. And Charles McGagan says, to my fellow veterans, thank you for your service. And thank you, Charles. Thank you very much. Motard says, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Griffin 250 number 164 on order, plus my Yamaha FC6, sipping on a mint julep like a true Southern gentleman. A classy drink to match a classy Janus Moto Rad. Wonderful. T. Henry, wish I could get a bike. Hey, welcome to the stream, T. Henry. If you haven't been on, or maybe this is the first time you're commenting, but good to see a new name. Daniel Higgins says, hey. Got in there and get in there and build my 250. All right, I'm working on it. Old school Halcyon number 994, 250, Buffalo, New York. Had a shoulder surgery. Just we. Well, old school, I would expect nothing less. I hope you recover from your surgery. Rowan says, right back at you, Charles. Yes, absolutely. And I take it. Thank you, Rowan. Daniel says, working on my 1970 Mach 1. Nice. While waiting on my Halcyon. Very nice. I take it that's a Kawasaki. No, that would not be. What is a Mach 1? Why am I blanking? Fill us in. John Garrant's Halcyon 450 number 356 on order. Received an email a couple of weeks back that my tins went to powder coating. Merry Christmas to me, I hope. Grey Goose and apple juice. Cheers all. Indeed, cheers. Cheers. Jeff Massey says, Richard, what is the Janus that is located farthest away? Meaning, what countries have you exported to or have reported to own a Janus? I'm not sure at this point. I know we have some bikes all over the world, a limited number. The farthest away that I'm aware of is in Moscow. We sold a bike, a 50cc, many, many years ago, probably 2013 or 14. Actually, no, not Moscow, St. Petersburg. So there you go. Across enemy lines. Well, not officially. I hope not ever. Charles Selman, hello from San Francisco. Griffin 250 number 124. Aurelius, home-based bourbon, but not in a tin cup. Timothy Peterson, Halcyon 1072 out of Honolulu, Hawaii. I have been enjoying whiskey on this fine Veterans Day. Wonderful. Good to see you, Timothy. Barb is on Halcyon 450 number 278 here in Oregon. It's pouring rain and very windy. Sipping on our hot cocoa with a splash of Black Label Irish whiskey. Wonderful. Okay, we're going to pause to read a poem, which I thought I'd pick it for today. This is one that I think probably all of you all will be familiar with. It's nothing rare, but in the words of Rudyard Kipling, lest we forget. This is a poem by John McCrae, which, again, I'm sure you're all familiar with, In Flanders Fields. I guess a little I'm sure everyone knows their history, but the armistice of 11th of November 1918 was the armistice signed at Le Francport near Compiègne that ended fighting on land, at sea, and in air in World War I between the Entente and their last remaining opponent, Germany. Also known as the Armistice of Compiègne, from the place where it was officially signed at 5:45 a.m. by the Allied Supreme Commander, French Marshal Ferdinand Foch. It came into force at 11 a.m. on the 11th of November, 1918, 11/11/11, and marked a victory and a defeat for Germany, a victory for the Allied forces and a defeat for Germany, although not formally a surrender. Unfortunately, fighting did continue up until 11, and in some cases later on that date, with 2,738 men dying on the last day of the war. And so this is a day that we take to remember all those who have given their lives and and devoted a portion of their lives to fighting the good fight and serving their countries around the world, and especially for us here in the United States in defense of our liberty, our American liberties. In Flanders Fields by John McCrae. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. So, a salute to all who have fallen and who have served. All right. Let's see. Should we go do some more comments? Yeah, let's go ahead. I don't have a really big program this evening, so let's spend some time with comments. And by the way, this is a great time to ask questions. If you have more questions, post them up, and I'll do my best to answer them. Or not just questions. Also, if you have a comment or a story or an observation, I'd be happy to share that. Danny from Texas, I don't currently ride. I want to get a BMW G310 GS to start, and once I get comfortable, I want to get a Halcyon 250. Fantastic. Wonderful. 310 is a great small bike. Perry Ford, hello Richard and fellow Ramblers. I hope to hear about some upcoming options in prototype and or coming up soon. Okay, I've now converted to Evan Williams. Well done. All right, we'll have to toast to that one. As we call him around here, we call him our business consultant. Let's see. And to answer your question, Perry, I've heard you, and we will do some upgrade updates this evening. Thank you, old school. Travis Johnson. Travis here from Nashville, Tennessee. Halcyon 250 number 1109, named McBride after the Irish rambler Arthur McBride. Nice. Very good. Love it. Jeff says, Richard, say Rancho Cucamonga again. Lol. Okay. All right. I'm obviously not saying it right. There you go. There you have it. I just said it. And Travis is drinking red wine. Fernando says, how do you decide on names for your bikes? Well, tell me. Help me out. Because I haven't named mine. I don't know. I think it's got to have something. You probably... you have to have a good reason to naming it right away. I feel like you should probably get familiar with it before you name your motorcycle. Although people have different reasons, so I think it's inherently, it's like, my argument is always that the way a motorcycle is customized is by riding it. Some people choose to chop the bike up into millions of pieces and put it back together in a completely new way. Others choose to ride it. And the motorcycle, I've always believed that a motorcycle customizes itself based on the time you spend with it and the ways that you adapt it to your use and the marks that you leave on it. Let's just say if it's crashed or something happens or whatever, that's part of what builds the bike. And that's why I am a firm believer in not in historic motorcycles. I think that when they are fully restored and they repaint them, it's almost an affront to the motorcycle, in my opinion, to do that, unless it warrants it, unless it really needs that, because there's so much character that's built on the motorcycle. And so I love the recent trend of preserving the motorcycle rather than totally redoing it. And so in terms of naming it, I think it has to be a personal thing that happens as you get to know each other. Because if you've read, here we go, perfect segue. If you've read the book, The Rambler's Companion, available on Amazon or through the Janus Motorcycles store, came out this spring, written by yours truly. Where was I going with that? I had a segue. What was I saying? Rambling? I totally lost it. There you go. Live stream. Rambling. And sometimes the ramble kind of comes to you run down a dead end and you have to turn around. Where was I going with that? Well, anyway, it'll come back to me. We'll go down that road again. Regardless, the name will come to it, and you'll figure it out. Daniel Vanderwood says, "Good evening, Richard. Put about 3,000 miles on Halcyon number 53 this season, sipping on a peach-flavored Old Smoky." Very nice. Ed Mirror says, "Dinner time for me. I'll watch and listen later. Asking Santa for a Halcyon 450. Fantastic." Christopher Smith, Monkey Boy here with some Heineken 0.0. Nice. Good to see you, Chris. Charles Selman, to all my fellow vets, thank you one and all for your service. Very nice. Let's see. Daniel Higgins says Ford Mustang. Nice. Rowan, USMC 71 through 74, 2nd Marine Air Wing. Wonderful. Jim Bledsoe, Ford Mustang. What are we talking about Ford Mustangs here for? I don't know. T. Henry says sound is fine. Okay, thank you. Why are we talking about? Jeff Massey. Fernando, good question. It comes to you. Mine is named Cooper. Cooper, the copper pin stripes sealed it for me. Nice. Jeff Massey. Fernando, good question. Sometimes the name just comes to you. Mine is named Copper due to the subtle yet prominent copper pinstripes. It will come to you. That is, yes. Great points. Old School says, question, Richard, from me. Ask the crew or ramblers if anyone took pictures of my antique motorcycle display at Founders Weekend. I did not and would appreciate it if anyone did send me pictures. Yeah, Old School, I looked through my photographs and I couldn't find anything. But I will ask the crew, and I would ask all of you all, if you were at the owners rally, Old School brought an incredible collection of vintage metal toys having to do with motorcycle toys. Some of them wind-up toys and all kinds of incredible historic items. And so if you were at the rally and you took some pictures of that, send them to me, Richard at Janus Motorcycles, and I'll make sure they get to Old School. Jeff says, no, you said it right. It's just fun to say. Nice. Roger Landis says, Halcyon number 18 is named after my grandmother, Hattie. There you go. Wonderful. Semtech says, Ol 68. Yeah, he's trying to get me to name 60. I mean, I think I probably called it Ol 68 before, so maybe that's what it's called. Fernando says, I've never named any of my vehicles. Literally, I refer to them by brand. For example, I tell my sons, the things are on the Jeep. Yeah, I mean, when we talk about our car, we do. I think that, I know where I was going with it. Hold on. Go back to that dead end. You've reminded me that if you've read, one more time, The Rainbow's Companion, available, $10. What I talk about in that is that what we're trying to do here at Janus is bring back the understanding that our machines work for us, and we're not controlled by them, and that we can have a relationship with them that is more than just like our dishwasher. Maybe some dishwashers have been named in the past, or washing machines or other appliances. I have certainly not named actually I have named my phone, but it's called Stupid iPhone. Literally called, that's what its name is in its own software. But machines that actually serve us and that we can have a relationship with, like older cars, things that have stuck around long enough that we can have a connection with them, can have a name. And so that's what we're trying to do here at Janus, is we're trying to build vehicles, machines that we can develop a connection with. And part of that is that we design them so that they will last long enough that we can develop that. A lot of modern machines are not designed to last or to be repaired. And also, they need to have enough character and enough individuality that they actually do have a character. My first car was a 1972 Volkswagen Bug, and it had a lot of character. And you were able to build an actual connection with it, where you would pat it when it wasn't, it was like, come on, you can do it. You have a relationship with it. Talking to your car or your motorcycle is a sign that it's got character. Carson Branham says, I caught a live finally in Greece on a there we go, farthest viewer in Greece. On a work trip, my Halcyon 250 number 854 Old Ironsides is waiting for my return. Put 5,000 miles on it this last summer. Fantastic. Oh, you're talking about the Mach 1, the Ford. There we go. Ford Mach 1. Sorry, my apologies. I should know that. I've been to the Ford Mustang Museum out in California and saw a number of beautiful Mach 1s. A Mach 1 is a Mustang. Yes. You all know better than me. Old School says, reading currently and must say from one literary man to another, good analogies and direction of exactly what my motorbike culture is all about. Nice. Yeah, I completely agree. Mark says, any paratroopers out there? Well, he's not on, but my brother was a paratrooper. So cheers to him and to paratroopers. He can tell you with his back and his knees still to this day and for the rest of his life. B. Moore says, mine are Dave and Wilson in honor of friends, U.S. Navy. Nice. Travis Johnson says, for any that aren't familiar with it, there is a wonderful song by Richard Thompson, 1952 Vincent Black Lightning. Well worth a listen and especially appropriate for motorcyclists. Yes, a good song. I know that one. That's paratroop. Yes, got it. Roy Martin says, new to the rim. Welcome, Roy. We're going to just plenty of toast here. Graduating in August with my master's and will gift myself a 250. Can't wait. Love the movement. Just finishing work and would love to have an Angry Orchard in hand. Wonderful. Well, welcome to the Ramblestream and best wishes in your, congratulations on your graduation and best wishes on your Janus purchase. Racing the Sun. The Felix brothers say, Old School, I have a video clip of your display at the rally. There we go. Well, Annie and Dan, send me the clip, and I'll make sure it gets to Old School. You all know how to get a hold of me. Keith says, bike name, number 706, hasn't told me yet. My wife bought a blue Bonneville America, and I bought a blue Tiger. We planned trips. The FNC took her from me. Now I call those motorcycles the Blues. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. But I wish you luck in the naming of your Janus. Lawrence Ray. My Halcyon 450 is named Black. Okay, here we go. Black Etna Piskanka, Ukrainian for blue gerbil. Picked up while my spouse was in Ukraine, providing support through her nonprofit, Sunflower Fund. Wonderful. Chris Smith says, Halcyon 367 will be on display at Cleveland Moto for anyone wanting to see and inspect a Janus. On display for the winter months. Yeah, Cleveland Moto is a great motorcycle hangout and store, and highly recommend. Yeah, absolutely. Be more. My 59 Ragtop Beetle is named Betty. Nice. 59, that's an old one. Mick Langford, Hank got the name when I opened the garage one evening and said, good night, Hank. I had not been drinking and meant to say Halcyon. Halcyon, the name stuck. Wonderful. Gary says, hi from East Lansing, late to the show today. Good to see you, Gary. Old School says, awesome. Thanks, my brothers from Texas. Well, if you're talking to the Felix brothers, they're from up in Michigan. Howard Spruitt, 450 number 64. I'm anxiously awaiting the ordered Griffin 250 number 162. Wonderful. And man, we've managed to make it all the way through the comments. Fantastic. So let's go on and move to, what are we doing next? Oh, we're going to do some upgrades and the upgrades update. So let's see, what are we going to talk about? I don't have pictures for everything, but if you go to our website, you can see the first, I think it's up on the website. Let me actually check and see. I'm not sure we've even listed this yet. Or if I can even find it. But I'll go ahead and talk about it. We've recently partnered with Cycle Crate, which is a guy making these out of Ohio, and he makes beautiful wooden crates for the back of your motorcycle or bicycle or other things. And he's made them specifically for us here at Janus Motorcycles. And they all have a Janus logo on them. Oh, here it is right here. Let me see if I can share this screen with you all so that you can see this. Here it is. The cycle crate, we'll zoom in a little bit here, it's gorgeous. They're made of, I forget, the walnut and hickory. Let's read the description here. They're waiting on our branding to be completed and are expected to ship by the end of the year. There are 15 available in the first run. Get yours on order now. They'll go fast. I'm not even sure that they maybe already are gone, but we're making more. 12 by 14 hardwood crates will come in heavy-duty denim with a denim cover. Leather covers to match your motorcycle are in the works and will be available soon. So they're absolutely gorgeous, and they bolt right on to your book rack or cargo rack on your 450. So very excited about that. Let me, we're going to go ahead and share more screens here. Hold on, we're going to. Bear with my technology here. Next up, oh yeah, so that's the cycle crate. We have, I'm working on so I have to give you all let me take the comment down. I have to give this disclaimer here just to protect me from our parts and accessories team and our production team, that when I talk about these upgrades, these are, and if they're in the works, it means that we're still working on them. Sometimes it takes us a while to get these into production. So don't berate them with questions about it right after the Ramblestream, because then they come right back to me. But these are all things in the works, and we'll let you all know how when they're ready for production. But the one that I'm working on now, which it's going to take a little bit, but I'm working on it, is a 250 fuel bottle bracket. That one is designed and is in prototyping, so it will be like the fuel bottle bracket on the 450, but it will be available for your 250. Similarly, the 250 is available with a tool roll bracket, and I am in the process of working on a tool roll bracket that will adapt to the 450. I had a prototype, it worked, but I forgot that it doesn't work with the cargo rack, and I really want to make sure that it does work with the cargo rack. So I'm in a redesign process with that, and so that's going to be a little bit further out, but we are working on that. So that's an exciting update that's in the works. Let's go ahead and go over here to share you all some things we're working on. Other than that, we have an update on the skirted fenders. So this is something that will be available on the 450 and 250. And I have talked about this before. These are they're fenders that are it's a three-part fender. So it has the main fender, and then it has skirts that they go all the way back to Bruff Superior, or early motorcycles had skirted fenders, and they provide a lot of extra protection from mud and debris, but they also look really good, and they offer us the ability to have two-tone colors. So you can have your fenders a different color than the skirts, or you could do them the same color. One of the things that we've been working on, we launched some of these, and we noticed that the fender was taking a real beating, and actually it was actually breaking the fender. And so we have reinforced the front fender brace. It now features a fender brace that it has two tabs on the front, which provide more mounting area, and then it also, if you can see here on the, I don't know if you can see how I can do this, but basically on where it mounts to the dropout, it has two bolt holes. So it's not just a pinned connection with a single bolt that can allow it to vibrate or to rotate. It has two, so that it's firmly affixed and won't bend and cause damage. So that's a big upgrade. That will be an update that we are also making it will be on universal, and all 450s will get this update. Right now, we're not so worried about it on the 250. It hasn't been an issue. We'll consider that. But this is, if you currently have a bike, this would not be something you should worry about. If you have regular fenders, it's no big deal. But if you're interested in the 450 with the skirted fenders, this will be something that you can get. And if you already have a bike and you want to update to it, this is something that you will be able to update to, even if you don't have 2 holes to mount to. We'll be offering a way to drill that out and install these. So this will be retrofittable. Let's take a quick look at some comments and just make sure we're up to date here. If you have any comments on what I'm talking about. Dan says, Cleveland Moto has a great podcast, but they pronounce it Janus. Someone should correct them. Well, technically, that's how it's pronounced in England. The English pronunciation is Janus. There you go. But yes, it is Janus. I think they get a hoot out of it. Barb says, I changed the name of Halcyon 450 number 278 because Richard couldn't pronounce the previous name. So now she's called Badakska. Okay, well, I'm probably not even going to pronounce that one. You should pick an easier name if you're naming it based on my pronunciation. Old School says, whoops, my apologies, Felix the Cars. Confetti says, Janus brand milk crate? Lol. Yep. Fancy stuffs. All right, let's see. Fernando says, thank you for the insight on naming bikes. It makes a lot of sense on finding a name when we see machines beyond metal, nuts, bolts, and wires. Indeed, exactly. I think you got it. Multifarious says, will the fuel bottle bracket require removal of the tool roll? No. So my goal is that the fuel bottle bracket will go on the other side, so you'll be able to run both. Absolutely. So the tool roll is on the right-hand side. The fuel bottle will be on the left. I think it'll be a good. You'll really be kitted out with it. Yeah, it goes on the opposite side. You're right. Yep. Riggedy Alp says, dang, late to the party. I'm going to have to catch up with the first 40 minutes later on. We'll skip the first 5 minutes because I didn't have any volume on. So there you go. All right. So we've talked about the fuel bottle and the tool roll. Now let's talk about the headlight visor that I'm working on. So there's a shot of the fender if you haven't seen it. There's the skirted fender. So that part that you see in the curved part is a separate piece of metal on both sides. It's riveted or it's actually bolted to the main fender. I'm a little out of order here, so we'll talk about the headlight visor. But first up is the new speedometer. And technically, this is a tachometer as well. So this is going to be replacing on all our bikes. The sad news is that our German instrument supplier went out of business, and so we were very upset by that. But we thought, well, this would be a really good opportunity to make an upgrade and get something that we think maybe fits a little better what we're shooting for. And one of the things that the 250 doesn't need a tachometer because it is its own tachometer. You can feel it, the vibrations and the sound, but a tachometer is such a lovely thing. You can, especially an analog tachometer, it allows you to understand where you are in your RPMs, and it moves, and it's they're just fun to engage with. And so this is now going to be available on all 250 and 450s moving forward. We're moving to a single instrument. So the 450 will no longer have the very symmetrical, which always kind of bugged me out. One of my favorite designs we ever did was when we moved to having a offset. Well, it was always offset, but we changed the way that the top plate looked to be an offset, sort of asymmetrical design with the speedometer on the one side. And when we did the 450, I don't know. I mean, it's a good look. It's very symmetrical. It looks very traditional, but what I'm looking forward to is having the asymmetry of a single unit. Very simple, very straightforward. And one of the things we had to kind of decide on was, if we're only having one, which one do we want to be analog? Because you just can't get both of them on there. And so it's really important. A digital tachometer is worse than useless because it moves so fast, and you don't want to be really reading a tachometer. You want to be almost seeing it in your periphery while you're riding. And so this will be an analog tachometer, and it will also have a digital speedometer down at the bottom. But it perfectly fits, in my opinion, the Janus mantra, which is the speed isn't really as important as this. We feel speed not by reading, oh, I'm going 150 miles an hour, but rather by the sensation that we feel when we're riding. And so what's more important, I think, is the connection with that tachometer, which is actually your engine speed, which has much more to do with the sensation of riding than your actual, at least as a Rambler or a Janus owner. So at the little LCD screen will be your speed and other input, all the same input that you would get on our other instruments, but you'll have a beautiful tachometer above. These are coming from Koso, and they're designed for us. Let's see. There it is, lit up. Next up, floorboards. And again, I'll just remind you all, these are not in production yet. So we will announce when these come out, but we have been working on these for quite some time. The floorboards have been done for a while, but what's been taking us a little too long is the controls. So in order to use floorboards, you don't want to have the control right where it is on if you had pegs. So it has to be further forward so that you reach your foot up. And it's more like a pedal than it is like a lever. And so this is a Gen 1 prototype. It'll probably be a little bit smaller and in toward the bike for the brake pedal. And then on the shift side, this is a prototype, but we're working on a heel-toe shifter. And this would be, I guess this could be available with your pegs as well if you didn't want floorboards. But if you're interested in a heel-toe, basically what that allows is, again, your foot stays on the board, and then you move forward and back to, you can push down for up or down, whether your foot's forward and back. So you push to go down, you put your foot forward, and to shift up, you put your foot on the back, and it clicks up. So we'll probably have a little bit nicer looking version when we go into production. Very, very excited about this. I've been looking forward to this for a long time to offer floorboards. These will initially only be available on the 450, although I do hope to have these available on the 250 as well moving forward. And again, please be patient. We are working to get these out while we're trying to launch the Griffin as fast as possible and build your motorcycles that are on order. We're a small team. All right. And we have a headlight visor. The headlight visor is something that I've wanted to do for a while, and I didn't want to do an aftermarket one. Let's pull this comment down. And the welded ones where there's a little wire, they just look too finicky to me. So I wanted to do one that's laser cut. This will allow us to potentially offer a number of different patterns too with the grill. And actually this one we formed this using our fender making die. Brent formed this up. It's a laser cut piece. It looks fantastic on I put it on a 250 Griffin. And this would be something that would just add a little extra protection, especially if you're planning on doing any off-road riding, etc., for your headlight, the glass lens on your headlight. Very excited about this. This should be coming out soon. It'll be probably stock will be powder-coated black, and it's a very traditional grill. Do we have any more images? I don't know if I have. Oh, here we go. This is one that we've stolen from you all, and I know you all have been requesting this for a long time, but this is a universal Janus Motorcycles fuel tank bib made out of leather. Here's the prototype right here. Take the label off of it. It's a round piece of leather. It just about perfectly fits the front curve of your fuel tank. And we've kind of been going back and forth on the sizing of the center hole. And what I've kind of settled on is a slightly undersized hole so that it needs to be pressed onto the fuel tank. So it adds a little bit more like of a seal. And this is there in case you drip gasoline. And it's nice because it's very, very durable. It absorbs, and it can be, you can do whatever you want with it. You can fold it up, you can roll it up, you can put it in your saddlebag or wherever you want to. And this will be available. We're working on this. I hope to launch this here very, very soon. We've gone through, this is the 4th prototype, trying to get the hole the right size. This will be available in all of our leather colors. So it'll match your motorcycle. And I think that is it for the photographs I have. I do have a couple other, that's the last one. I do have some more updates just without pictures. Let's see, we have our lowered 250 seat that I'm working on. And this will be a Halcyon 250 seat that drops the seat an additional inch. So not only will, we've already offered the lowered seat option. This will be with like shorter springs. This actually drops the entire seat, even the front, an additional inch. So I think we're getting really close to the much requested 28-inch seat height. So the goal of this is to allow for shorter riders, something I don't understand, but shorter people to be able to comfortably ride and flat foot, I hope, the Janus Halcyon 250, our most popular motorcycle model. So very excited about that. I know our sales team is also excited about it. I would just put a word in that if you are shorter and you're still concerned, the beauty of the Janus is that they are lightweight. And so even if you're not fully able to flat foot it, it's not like you're on a bigger bike where it's heavy and you really are nervous, like you're riding a KLR or something like that. Multifair says exhaust side. I think he's referring to the fuel bottle. No, it would be the off exhaust side, which is good because I don't want my fuel bottle right over the exhaust. Confetti says, I like the 2 TBH. I don't know. Dan says, any chance of a face that matches the watch? Black and white is overdone. Any chance of a face that matches the watch? Oh, you're talking about the instrument on the speedometer. Well, not at present. The reason, one of the reasons for that black and white is that it's very legible, and so the other reason that I really, it's why it's so overdone, I guess, for an instrument panel is that if you have backlighting and you actually want the letters and the numerals and everything to illuminate, you can black out the face and then those can come through. And that's one of the things that the new speedometer, which I don't believe the old ones did, every piece of lettering on there, the outline, it's not a light that shines on the face, it's actually the entire thing is lit. So it's also bigger. The new instrument is the same size as the 450 instrument. It's 80 millimeters. So our 250s will now have a much larger instrument, which was one of the complaints we had on the 250s. It's so small. And when I do go back and look at it, I realize it is a very, very small instrument. Yeah. Let me think about that one. I mean, that's a possibility. But we have to order these in a lot of volume. So probably going to be sticking with the black face. But I love that comparison with the watch and yeah. By the way, there's the Rambler watch. Let's see if I can actually show this. This was a collaboration we did with Laurier Watches. They're sold out, but we are going to be releasing a second run very soon here of the Rambler, and more stuff in the works too. So keep your eyes peeled. Chris Smith says, is the tack suitable for retrofitting? Could it be retrofitted? Yes. If you have a 250, it can be retro. Actually, if you have any of the bikes, we can retrofit it. Well, I take that back. Yeah, if you have any Janus 450 or 250, you can retrofit it. It will require some other parts to be updated on the 450 if you wanted to update your 450 to this, because the top plate is a different design. It has to have a larger offset top plate. But we have two different versions. Folks that are right now getting a bike they're going to get a really rare and cool interim design where it's the key switch is still in the center and this is offset. But what we're working on for future builds is that the key switch will move. That's going to be a bit further out. So that's something that look forward to, but there'll be some interim builds that'll be a rare Janus. And I'm equally excited with the way the design worked out. So yes, very easily retrofittable, I believe, on the 250. Man, I hope I'm not speaking wrong there, but yes, I believe so. Arthur Norby says, just got on in Texas. Halcyon 250 number 1039. Good to see you, Arthur. Fernando says, a quick question for you guys. The highway bars on the Halcyon 450 are bolted to the frame, top part, and the bars for the 250 are clamped with a U-bolt to the frame. Yes, they're both bolted. Well, the 250 has a U-clamp. It has a special bracket at the top, but yeah, it's bolted to the frame. The 450 actually has flanges that bolt to the frame, top and bottom. It's a little bit more. It's bolted with the chassis. The 250 has clamps. I hope I answered your question there. Anybody else, maybe if they have a better answer, chime in. Did I miss a comment? Oh, Confediant says, oh, he likes the symmetry of the two gauges. Oh, well, I appreciate symmetry. As a classical designer, I really love symmetry, but when the function is a little different, I like for it to be reflected in the symmetry. So sometimes the symmetry can actually bring out the asymmetry can, when asymmetry is used correctly, it reinforces the symmetry of the design. How about that? That's my opinion. And I'm designing them, so. But I do appreciate your appreciation of symmetry, and I agree for the most part. Confenia says, yes, officer, the speed is by the sensation of the riding, so I couldn't have been speeding. Yeah, right. Fernando says, how firm are the highway bars on the 250? Oh, they're very firm. Yeah, it's rigidly connected to the chassis. Absolutely. And maybe some owners chime in on that if you have highway bars on your 250. Dan says, I installed a Koso on my old Yamaha Bolt. Most excellent product. Yeah, we're really excited about these. They're good-looking units, and they have the design is really nice. There's little bolts around the perimeter. Yeah, excited about it. Kyle says, we don't need no stinking speedometer. Use the force. Yeah. Lo-fi by nature. 1131 has this gauge, and I think it's great. The digital speed is easy to read, and I'm already used to how fast I'm going in fifth based on where the tack is resting. Nice. Confetti says, I absolutely wish I could test this stuff. Yeah. Mark Gallistel, floorboards are fancier than the 45 Harleys I used to own. Nice. Lo-fi by nature. Nice. I was wondering about the headlight grill. Good. Yep. Confetti says, Mark, from what I've seen, seems like most 45s had them. Lol. I know some twin cams do. Confetti, a bib? Yes, a bib. To keep the gas spills from ruining the paint. Exactly. Will it fit in a tool bag? Yes, it will. It'll fit. Yes, it will fit in a tool bag. Dan says fuel bib needs a Janus logo. Yeah, I'm working on that. Whether we do a stamped logo like our key fob or something along those lines, I agree with you. I also want to make sure I want to start selling them, so I know you all want them. Jeff says, fuel bib, shut up and take my money. All right, great. The leather bib would look sweet if it had a giant Janus logo that filled the whole set. I know Danielle mentioned that she wanted to have a wreath logo around it. Maybe. We don't have any dies like that, but at the very least, I'd love to have a small logo, a Janus logo on there. It makes sense. Optional logo, also an optional option, and also optional rolled in lines. Huh. Big leather, you can probably roll it and fold it up and put it in the tool bag. Yes, absolutely. Confetti says, I'm unsure of what size of tool bag's capacity. Yeah, this will fit in your tool roll. Yeah, I mean, the tool roll isn't much shorter than this, so I mean, if it has to bend over a little bit, but I think it should fit in there just fine. Paul Ram on. Hi, Richard. Halcyon 250 number 542. 45 minutes south of Indy. Love my bike. Good to see you, Paul. Jim Blutza, black body on new speedometer. Yes, it is a matte, kind of a matte finish black with silver hardware. It's really nice. It's really nice. It really fits the aesthetic of the Janus. Ducati 135. Can't wait to take a test ride. Well, I can't wait for you to either. Come on up. Carson says, any chance of a pocket watch edition of the Rambler watch? Man, wouldn't that be awesome? You know, I did a Ramblestream, man, it's been earlier this spring where I talked a little bit about pocket watches, and there's a guy out in South Bend who's making pocket watches out of he's making wrist watches out of South Bend pocket watches. But man, a pocket watch would be really neat. No plans at present, but you put me in touch with somebody who makes pocket watches, and I'll talk to him. Black and white is fairly legible, but also white face with black numbering is more retro. Yeah, it would require a light. I mean, you could backlight the whole thing, but a lot of times, really, the struggle we had with the speedometer that we made was that the whole speedo. There's lots of things going on behind that speedometer, and you can't illuminate the whole back. And so there's limited area real estate where you can have back illumination, and so for a number of reasons, that's why that black makes a lot of sense. It's why, if you look at historic cars, many of them, if they were illuminated, have a black background. Not saying that it can't be done. Just at present, that's the direction we're going. Roger Landis says, I lowered my Halcyon seat by drilling new holes closer to the seat and removing lower holes and then moving the springs to mount under the lower bracket. Yeah, there have been a number of workarounds for this, but I hope that this will be a production fix that will allow people who are shorter to enjoy a Janus. Barb says, my highway bars on my 450 saved me from going down recently, so they are good. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Really am. Fernanda, my Halcyon 250 was dropped by a tow driver. The fuel tank was saved by the rigidity of the highway bars. They are solid. Good to hear. Barb says, I'm making myself an oval leather fuel guard with double white pinstripe. Well, you don't need ours then. I think yours sounds better. Rare breed. Any new designs in the works that you can discuss? I think I'm working on it right now. We do have, we have some bigger plans that we're always working on new ideas, but nothing at present that we're ready to share. It'll be a ways out, I think. Confetti says, I absolutely will get me a pocket watch version. Yeah. Carson says, I am a for sure sale on a pocket watch edition. Well, me too. Okay, last updates. Tank bib. I talked about the 450 book rack. No, I didn't. 450 book rack. We're going to be coming out with a book rack. You all demanded it, but you don't like the cargo rack. I get it. I just want to say that do not put things that are going to get shaken up on the 450 book rack. This would be a fender mounted book rack because it will bounce up and down with the wheel. The 250 is fender mounted too, but the whole motorcycle is hardtail, and so it doesn't bounce as much. Yes, we are coming out with a book rack that will mount to your rear fender. That is in the works. I know some of you probably already are aware of that, but we have a couple of, it's already designed. We have a prototype. I have to make some slight adjustments to make sure that it fits better, but that's coming out soon. Soon. Don't hound Danielle about it. I will get it. Charles says, Griffin 450. Yep, first one is being made, and we are whipping everybody to get the rest of them out as soon as possible. So thank you so much for your patience. I know it's taken longer than we had hoped. Stephen Heron says, I wonder if you might be interested in creating a Sargent seat for the passenger seat on the Halcyon 450. Well, the passenger seat on the Halcyon 450 is made by Sargent. It's a pillion. Now, it's not a full solo style seat, but the one that we have now is very, very comfortable for a pillion, and it is made by Sargent. We don't yet have plans for a big seat. You know, I don't really. It's okay to have passengers on your 450 or your Janus or your 250. But it's a lightweight. It's a 450. It's a small displacement bike, so I don't want to make it too comfortable. But good question and a good suggestion. Confetti Young says, I learned that I can't haul eggs in saddlebags of my bike. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Well, Griffin 450 foot pegs. We have off-road style, steel, serrated. Be careful. These are for off-road bikes. I have mashed my shin into mine on my KLR, but we are offering some pegs that are more suitable if you're in mud. They're open, and so the mud will go right through them, and you get really good traction. It's for off-roading, but these will be available for all 450s, specifically for the Griffin 450. And I talked about the tank bib. So there we go. Those are our updates so far. All right, we're a little bit over time, 8:08. Thank you very much for joining for another Ramblestream, and I'm happy to report that we will be back next week for episode number 59. So stay tuned. Join me again next week. Thank you for joining in. We have 70 people on right now. It's very good. Love to see it. And I will see you all next week for Ramblestream number 59. Thank you all, and good night.